Brothers and sisters, have a blessed Sunday, September 19. Today we celebrate the 25th Sunday of Ordinary Time. And our Gospel today is the Gospel of Mark, chapter 9, verse 30 to 37. Jesus and his disciples went on from there and passed through Galilee, and he would not have anyone know it, for he was teaching his disciples, saying to them, "The Son of Man will be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and when he is killed, after 3 days he will rise." But they did not understand the saying, and they were afraid to ask him. And they came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, "What were you discussing on the way?" But they were silent, for on the way they had discussed with one another who was the greatest. And he sat down and called 12, and he said to them, "If anyone would be first, he must be last of all and servant of all." And he took a child and put him in the midst of them, and taking him in his arms, he said to them, "Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but him who sent me." So, second announce of the passion, of the suffering of the Son of Man. Second time that Jesus is clearly announcing what's going to happen to his disciples, and they are afraid to ask him. Yes, because instead of really listening to what Jesus was announcing, they were actually very busy with a very important question for them, very important question, which is actually totally out of the topic. Who is the greatest? Who is the most important? Who is the most this and that? Wow, so much question that we have so often among ourselves. When we compare, we say, who is the best in this and that? Who has succeeded in this and that? Who is better than me? Who has more this, more that? Our questions which looks very serious, but which are actually not so important for the Lord. And he wants to really teach them today about this, and he will say, if you want to be the first, you have to be the last and the servant. Then he will take this image of the child and show how to welcome a child in his simplicity and littleness. I think there is a very important teaching of the Lord to reflect on today about the link between the childhood, the spirit of childhood, and accepting the way of humility and following Jesus on the way of the cross. Jesus is announcing clearly that he's going to suffer and to be rejected, to be killed. And then he invites the disciples to look at the child and to receive a child in his name. What does this mean? I think there's a link between accepting and living suffering in love with God and the spirit of childhood. When Jesus asks us to be like a child or to receive a child, is not to be childish, like immature and, no. Look at, for example, the example of Saint Therese, of the child Jesus, who really lived spirit of childhood, spiritual childhood. She's a person who suffered greatly, in her life, from her childhood precisely until the end. She suffered greatly, morally, physically, emotionally. And she had this great maturity, this great sense of being united with God through suffering, and in the same time this simplicity of a child. So what does it mean? I think when suffering comes in our life, we are placed before what is essential, what is the most important. And we realize that there are many things that maybe we think are great and so important and so valuable for us, but which are actually not. And this gives us a certain simplicity like a child. And this makes us leave what we believe being the greatness of an adult, of someone who has already achieved something. But we realize that, yeah, whatever we have achieved, whatever we have accumulated, or whatever title we have, this is not so important, especially when suffering comes at our door, right? And we know this right now with this pandemic, with this sickness, with all these difficulties and problems that surround us. Maybe we are called to the spirit of childhood, of spiritual childhood, of recognizing who we are truly before God, and say, yeah, maybe I'm not so much more than a child. What I need is to be open to your love, Lord, and to be open to the love of those people around me, and to know truly who I am, but not to put my greatness in what is not true, what is maybe so much passing and not so essential. I think we need to connect this spirit of childhood and the way of the cross that Jesus is showing today. Suffering reveals our false greatness, our false attachment, our false identities, and invite us to a true simplicity, a true detachment, and moreover, a true union to Christ. Have a blessed Sunday, brothers and sisters, and may this gospel inspire and guide us and strengthen our faith.